Eventually gonna have to face it. Yeah, eventually gonna have to face it. Sometimes we begin to create these scenarios in our head, and eventually we have to face it. Then we have to embrace it and then replace it. That's the word. Face it, embrace it, replace it. We can make a situation bigger in our heads than it needs to be. We can overthink something so much that then we begin to overanalyze it. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I tend to overanalyze everything. I tend to almost think about it in such a way that I begin to make it such a big deal that I don't even want to face it. But eventually you're going to have to face it. So just face it and rebuke it. Face it and rebuke it. You know, Yeshua, he says that whatever we bind on earth will also be bound in heaven. So you can bind that spirit, you can bind that thought and send it back to the abyss. You can. That's the authority that we're borrowing from heaven. And it's time to start using your authority. I know those thoughts, they keep, trying to pummel you and trying to keep you so locked down. And I know. But eventually you're going to have to face it. And stop running from it. Stop running from the very thing God is trying to heal you in. You know, we can run to alcohol, we can run to bud, we can run to sex, we can run to drugs. The list goes on and on of the stuff that we can run to try to mask the issue. But then when that is gone, when the drugs are gone, when the alcohol is gone, when that girl leaves you, when that guy leaves you, you're just going to be facing the same issue over and over and over and over again because you keep running from it. So I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you right here, right now. Ask for strength to be able to face it. Strength to face it. Strength to embrace it. And strength to replace it. You know, something that's not talked about is the fact that when we begin to do something for such a long period of time, we have to replace it with something. Otherwise, we're just going to keep going back to it. So when you're trying to get over these addictions and you're trying to get over these people and you're trying to get over these things that have tried to keep you bound for so long, you have to replace it with something. You know, I wasn't sure how I was going to overcome my alcohol addiction. I wasn't. Honestly, I was going down a path that I didn't think I was ever going to get free from. And I've seen grown men, 50, 60 years old, still on that same path, and they're happy with it. They've just accepted their fate, they've accepted the fact that they're just going to be on that road. And then they make excuses for why, and they come up with all this, that, it's just on the weekends, it's just one. And maybe it is, but at the end of the day, it's the 10-year road that you have to start thinking about. So that one that you're having right now, that one beer or that one cigarette or that one, whatever it might be something different for you. It's 10 years down the road that you have to ask yourself, are you willing to sacrifice all this time just to have one? Now, some people, they can have one and then lay it down and never touch it again. But my guess is that if you're running to it for that one, you're going to be running to it for 6 and 10 years. And it might even be more than 6. If you're only having one right now, I don't know who this is for. I don't know what this is about, but I know God the Holy Spirit is speaking through me, and I thank you for this, Holy Spirit. That one easily can turn into 6, and 6 can turn into 12, and 12 can turn into 24. I'm speaking to somebody right now. And it's time to lay it down. It's time to replace it with something. Now, you don't have to immediately quit and stop everything and jar yourself. Just do the incremental step down. So if you're having 6, have 5, then 4, then 3, and do it over the course of 6 months. Do it over the course of a year. So it doesn't seem that daunting. So you're having 6 beers right now. So you're having 6 beers right now. Next week, only have 5. There you go. Next month, after that, have 4. It's the slow step down that's important. That's how I was able to lay down pretty much everything that I've stopped doing. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I still struggle. But I do know this. I feel a hell of a lot better. I feel a hell of a lot better, and you will too. So I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you to try this slow incremental system. Try it. Try it. But eventually you're going to have to face what you're running from. So stop running from it right now. And turn to God. Turn back to God. Turn to God and ask Him for the strength. Ask Him to reach down and give you that strength you need in your heart, in your body, in your mind, to be able to say, okay, I know this is killing me right now. Because let's be honest, you're running to something that's actually killing you worse than what you're running from. Yep. You're running from something, and you're running to something that's going to kill you quicker than what you're running from. So it's time to turn to God and stop running from what God is trying to show you that He's trying to heal you from. And get honest with yourself. Get honest with yourself to say, all right, I'm done running. And I'm ready to face it. And the quicker you can get there, the quicker you can do that, and the quicker you can be honest with God and be that authentic you. And just admit, I like drinking, or I like smoking, or I like sex, or I like the porn. It's okay. It's okay. Stop with the fake facade already. Take the mask off. And quit running. And finally face the very thing that God is trying to heal you from. I know what happened sucked. I know. But if you want to ever get free from what you're doing, if you want to ever get free from that vicious cycle, because we can go from state to state to state to state to city, from apartment to this place to a house to over here to this city to that place to that town to all this, but you're going to keep running into the same issue until you face it. Unfortunately. And it's just going to be this vicious cycle over and over of rinse, and repeat. Get into this new relationship only to find that it's going to turn out the same way the last one did, because you never faced what you needed to. You ran from it. And then you hid behind this blanket of a substance. That's all it is. It's a blanket, and it's a Band-Aid. It's a temporary fix. It's never going to free you completely. It's only going to put you in more bondage from what you're trying to run from. I mean, listen, that's the whole ploy of the enemy. That's the whole ploy of evil, is to keep you in this chasing of your tail. Just keep chasing your tail and never feel like you're getting anywhere. And then be hungover on top of it. And then be hungover on top of it. And then when we peel that away, when we actually peel that away, and we unravel that onion, we see that all along, it's because you are a hurt little boy, a hurt little girl that's just trying to heal yourself. And there's the key word right there. You're trying to heal yourself, and it's time to turn to the one that can heal you. It's time to turn to the one that took the sacrifice for you and took that on the cross for you. They call him the Messiah for a reason. He is the Messiah for a reason. And it's time to stop running already. It's time to stop running from it. Face it. Face it. Some of this stuff we bring on ourselves. We think about something for so long that now we have to deal with it. So we have to deal before we heal. We have to deal before we heal. But more importantly, before you can deal, you have to stop running. And I say this with the most compassion ever. You will get better. On the other side of all this, you're going to see why all this needed to happen. And listen, it had to happen. It had to happen, okay? All that what you're worrying about and beating yourself up for, that had to happen. And when we really dig in deeper right here, it's all a forgiveness issue. Or an unforgiveness, rather. So you're holding on to something that you need to let go of. You need to forgive yourself. You need to forgive that person. You need to move it on. And once you can actually sit down and say, you know what? Well, I was holding on to that. Well, I was holding on to that. And once you can honestly start letting go, just throw that into the comments for me. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go. And once you can honestly grab that, once you can honestly grab that right there, this whole getting sober and losing that comfort blanket that you keep holding on to and that you keep running back to. Now, let's clear something up for a second. Something just hit my head. I don't want to make it out to where everything that you're doing is bad, because it's not. If you enjoy drinking a beer, do it. If you enjoy smoking bud, do it. If you enjoy whatever it is, do it. But if it's slowly killing you, you need to ask yourself, what am I running from? And what am I holding on to? And what am I trying to coat in this alcohol, in this weed? And if that's becoming your crutch, you've got to ask yourself some very important questions right now. Because again, it's not what it's affecting right here. It's about what it's affecting 10 years down the road. It's about what it's affecting even